Hi everyone. So the purpose of doing today's live is to talk about my journey and experience over the last few weeks. And interestingly, I was also told to F off by somebody yesterday, and I want to kind of share with you why that has kind of been part of this journey and how that has helped me, and why I am showing up here today and doing this session for you. So thank you firstly to everyone who has sent me love, sent me well wishes, sent me healing, because I have been poorly. I've had COVID, which has been a really interesting experience. So I wanted to come on and share some of that experience as well, because I feel like it's really important to share that experience, and in particular energetically how I've experienced this virus and what I've had to do, but also not only that, but how it has helped me to shift and up level and to step into a new version of myself. And I also want to talk about and just re-emphasize how important the human side of our spiritual development is as well. So we want to be focusing on the human side, and that has really helped me through my journey and has really helped me in particular over the last few weeks. And I also want to talk about boundaries as well. So this all kind of fits together and comes together. But yeah, the first thing I wanted to say is just a massive thank you to everyone for your well wishes, for your patience while I stepped away from social media to focus completely on healing. And one of the reasons that I did this is because even though like physically I felt all right after the first 24 hours, I could see and feel this huge energetic component to this virus and what was going on with the energetic component. So I just could not afford to show up and give any of that energy. I needed to clear that out myself. I needed to take responsibility. I talk a lot about people taking responsibility for their energy, and this is exactly what I'm talking about here, because my ego came in, and I heard my ego come in and went, oh come on, stop holding yourself back, you're feeling physically okay, so show up, there's people there that need you, you need to show up for them anyway. But that was just my ego coming in, because actually what I was experiencing and what I was going through on an energetic level, it would not have been responsible for me to come and share that energy with you in any means. Okay, so all clients were cancelled, all social media was stopped, and I focused on healing and daily clearing of that energy. So what did I experience? Okay, so in the first day of the virus, firstly, I didn't know I had COVID because I took a test, it was negative, but obviously what happened is it took a while to then show up in my body, so I then tested positive. So in that day where I believed I was negative, I was really confused. I was like, this does not feel like any type of virus that I've ever had before in my whole entire life, even as a child. And I used to be quite unwell as a child. I can remember having viruses and flus and colds and things, but I was just connecting with this, and I knew this was not something that I had ever experienced before. Okay, so I knew something weird was going on. Then when I knew what it was, I was able to connect with it on an energetic level. And even so the first 24 hours I was really poorly, and then I managed to ride that out and my body fought it off, which I've trusted all along. I've had this deep knowing and trust that my immune system, I trust it, I trust my body, I trust my nutrition, I trust the supplements that I take, and that my body would fight something off. This is what I've done all along the way. So I did that, and physically it did it. But I saw it as a gift, and I saw it as, okay, I feel like this is different. I feel like there's an energetic component. So let me tune into that. So that was why, firstly, why I took responsibility and I stepped away. So thank you again for everyone's patience with that while I stepped away. Because I had to take energetic responsibility to go within and to clear out and not risk passing any of that energy on. So I could feel the energetics of it. And what was very interesting, and do get in touch and let me know if you have experienced this as well, is there was almost like a depression type feeling and anxiety. So I woke up in the night one day with a really tight chest and an anxious feeling, and it was like, I've not experienced this type of anxiety for years. But what I was able to do is I was able to use my mindfulness skills, and this is why I feel like it's a massive gift, because I feel like I was meant to experience it so that I can help others through it. But also where I'm at in my journey, I was able to use mindfulness to step behind it. So Jon Kabat-Zinn talks about the analogy of a waterfall and how when we're being mindful, we're stepping behind the waterfall. So the water is passing in front of us. We can see the water and we can see our thoughts, but we're not stepping into them. We're not getting wet in the waterfall. And this is what I was able to do. Now, this wasn't easy. This wasn't easy for me, and it was very easy at times to get caught up in the emotions and suddenly go, hang on a moment, why has my anxiety come back? Why am I suddenly depressed? And it was just that constant reminding myself to step behind the waterfall. So I could see this big energetic component, and I'm very conscious that I can't speak a huge amount about this on here, so we can connect via Telegram or another means, but I could connect with this energetic component, which was brought in to bring down consciousness. Okay, so I had to really dig deep and pull on my skills, and I was doing this on a daily basis. I was clearing energy on a daily basis, and I was stepping back and I was seeing it, and I was seeing behind it and going, that's not mine, they're not my emotions. Okay, so it's been really interesting, and I couldn't have got through it without my mindfulness skills. But also I think those boundaries, and having those boundaries with myself and taking that responsibility to say, no, stop. We need to stop and take responsibility for this and clear it out, and not listening to, because this is another thing, right, is the way it fed my ego. The way it fed my ego and started to say things like, come on, Gemma, come on, you need to just show up. You need to stop this now. Stop being silly. Like, you've done enough healing. Stop being silly. Stop hiding. Stop playing small. My ego really came in and did that. So I really had to kind of fight with that ego and go, no, I'm taking responsibility. I'm stopping. So Mimi, so you had a similar feeling. Yeah, so there has been this energetic component, and it brought my boundaries with that to my awareness. I also had some like self-worth stuff come in as well. So again, I could identify this wasn't mine and stand behind the waterfall, but I had some thoughts come in that were so the retreat I'm running on the 19th of February, I had some thoughts come in that went, should you really be running that retreat? Does anyone really want to come to a retreat with you? And it was so interesting, and I could see it was my ego. I could see those thoughts weren't mine. I could see that depression and anxiety feeling was all part of the virus. So that's been really interesting, and what I've been able to do is, by setting those boundaries, by coming in and taking responsibility and clearing that energy out, I've been able to really connect back to myself again. And this morning was the moment where I really kind of felt myself connect back to my higher self. I've cleared out some energy, I've cleared some entities, I won't go kind of too deep into this, but there were some demons that were involved that I've had to clear. And I was able to step back into that version of my higher self this morning, which is why I'm here live today, because I'm fully back and I'm fully kind of ready to go, ready to do the retreat in 2 weeks' time, and let's do this. And then yesterday, so I wanted to talk about yesterday as well, because again, so many of you hopped on my post and really supported me and gave me love when I was told to F off yesterday. And this was like a real gift as well. Okay, and you might think, hang on, she sounds completely crazy. She's saying that COVID was a gift, and she's saying being told to F off was a gift. But it really was, because it was such a test for me of where my boundaries are at now. So the old me would have been devastated, absolutely devastated, that I'd upset someone so much that they told me to F off. I would have been absolutely devastated. What have I done? What could I have done better? And probably would have you get told to get F off all the time, Mimi. What have I done? What's wrong with me? And try to engage in a conversation with this person to get them to a point where they were okay and happy. And this is what I used to do. So this was part of my people pleasing pattern, was that if anyone had any type of issue with me, I would have to continue to engage with them until I got them to a point that they were happy. What I've learned over time is everyone's got their own truth, everyone's got their own issues going on, and I don't quite know what was happening in this scenario. I don't know if there was something energetic going on. I don't know if some kind of energy or entities had come in and taken over this conversation, and suddenly because what happened is what I'm doing at the moment with new group members who join the group, as I'm welcoming them into the group. You'd still be engaging with your mother if you did that. Yeah, that resonates for me too. with certain family things I've had going on before. Yeah. So what I'm doing is I've been asking new group members that join, is there anything that you need some support with? Can I ask you a few questions? As I've been working on my freebie courses and guides to keep those up to date with what people need support with. So this person had said yes to me asking them some questions. I'd asked them some questions, and then they'd answered some, then I'd ask some more, and then they'd come back and just told me to F off. And I think I was initially quite shocked, and I thought it was a joke, and I said, is this a joke? And then they said, no, this message was meant for you. And that was the point that I blocked them. And this is where our boundaries are really important, because if we feel that something's not right, it's our space, it's our page, it's our groups. If this happens on a non-online version, physical level, it's our space, it's our house, whatever. We don't have to invite any of that in. So I instantly then block them. No dramas. But I wanted to share that, and I did share that yesterday, because I want you to know that just be yourself and stand in your power, and whatever was going on, whether it was energetically, whether it was he had something personal going on for him, and this kind of brings me on to compassion as well. So this is another thing I want to talk about. So when I studied mindfulness on a deep level and became a mindfulness teacher, one of the biggest things was kindness and compassion. And what I established is that I wasn't actually having that kindness and compassion for myself. I was giving that kindness and compassion to everyone else, and people pleasing and over giving and over providing, giving so much of my work away and things like that. Just realised I'm a bit wonky. I was over giving, and I then had to switch that into a place of self-love. So I was giving to myself as well. So that was kind of balanced compassion. But I just had this awareness drop in yesterday on this as well. So when we have, there's a bigger energy piece at play, okay? So yes, we can take that Buddhist philosophy of mindfulness and we can have that compassion for ourselves and for others. But sometimes we need to dial that compassion down. Now, this might be a bit controversial, but this is the awareness that I've had, and this is why being told to F off yesterday, I instantly blocked that person, because there are certain people and certain entities that we cannot send compassion to. Because if you are sending compassion and somebody has got entities, attachments, demons, all you're doing is you're feeding your light to those people, okay? So yes, we want to have compassion for ourselves and for others, and it's, you know, and it's great. But we don't want to, yeah, exactly, Mimi, they can't receive it, yes. So if we're sending compassion openly, we're making ourselves open to attack and our light being taken, okay? So this is why for so long I felt so highly sensitive, because I was trying to give love and light to everybody, and it wasn't going to the person, it was feeding the entities and the energy around it, okay? So with our boundaries, we want to be setting boundaries that come from that place of love and compassion, but not giving everyone that love and light. Does that make sense? So I'm just checking my notes. What else do I want to talk about today? Because I could easily like go down all these tangents. Yeah, so we need to be having boundaries. So it's absolutely great to come from this place of compassion, to come from this place of love, and love has been shown to, the feeling of love and sending love has been shown to impact on the vagus nerve, and, you know, can really help us on a psychological level, on a physical level. But it's having those boundaries, because when we look at this wider energetic piece, we need to have those boundaries with ourselves so that we're not getting drained, so we're not, you know, over giving. So hopefully that makes sense. And that's also been kind of like part of my awareness as well, with being told to F off yesterday. And then what else did I want to talk about? My brain is like ping, ping, ping. So the other thing I want to talk about is this human side of spiritual development again. And you'll be sick of hearing this, because I know I keep going on about it. But we need to be focused. We need to remember who we are, okay? So there's two levels to this. We need to remember who we are on a soul level, and that there is a huge energy piece at play, which is why we don't want to give love and compassion to entities and narcissists, okay? So we want to remember and rise up above and remember that everything is energy and who we are on that energetic level, in one sense. In the other sense, we want to remember that we're human. We're all human with brains. And this used to be my frustration of working in the corporate environment, was that working in the corporate environment, especially in financial services, it was like we had forgotten that there are people working in the organisation, okay? So with all of these processes and work and projects, it was like it had been forgotten that within that structure of the organisation, there were people. And this is what I feel is really missing. This is what I feel is missing in the spiritual community, is remembering that we are people. We are all people with brains. And when I discovered positive psychology in 2013, this massively shifted my life. So being able to tap into things like daily positive psychology and mindfulness habits are ways that we can be our absolute best selves based on the fact we are all humans with brains. And I feel like we've somehow lost sight of that. Okay, so we want to almost be like zooming in and zooming out at the same time. We want to be zooming out and realizing that everything is energy. We exist within the quantum field. What thoughts are we sending out? What are we manifesting? What are we healing? What's our future, vision? Because we can collapse time and space, and we can be in that future vision now. We can step into that. We can send healing. One of the things that I did with COVID was I sent healing back to source, like back up the line of the virus, because I was able to connect with it energetically. I was able to connect with it, collapse time and space, and send that healing back up the line, so everyone got the benefit of that, which was such a gift, which I wouldn't have been able to do if I hadn't have experienced that virus within my body. So we need to be looking at that bigger energetic piece. That is so important, and energy alignment is everything. And we want to be looking at the human side. So we want to be zooming in on the fact that we are all humans and we all have brains and that there is some flipping incredible, I'm really trying to stop myself from swearing because I'm going to put this on the podcast and I have to say whether it's explicit or not. We have to, there's some incredible things that we can do from a neuroscientific point of view to tap into being our absolute best self. So as I've shared my experience over the last few weeks, building that mindfulness habit that I've got and being able to step behind the waterfall and see that those thoughts, those emotions, those... You're okay, Mimi. Oh, good luck with your move. You're okay because you swore on comments, so that won't go onto the podcast. So by being able to, because I could step back behind that waterfall and see like what was going on and respond to it, I was able to make conscious choices, conscious decisions, respond rather than react. I probably was a bit of a nightmare, but, be a better partner, not snap at Coral because, I'm just suddenly in this emotional wave and I can't respond and I'm suddenly reacting to everything. Being able to step back is an absolute gift. Having my positive psychology practices in place and continuing my morning routine. So I still got out of bed every day and went downstairs, I meditated, I journaled, I tuned into gratitude. I still got exercise, even if it was just like a little walk around in circles in the garden. I still kept those habits going because those habits are a huge part of my life. They're a huge part of my life, they're a huge part of my business. And if we're not considering ourselves as human, and we're not considering the human side of our development and the fact that we all have brains, and a lot of the time we are not giving ourselves the advantage of using our brains to their full potential, because we haven't changed much since caveman times in the whole scheme of things, and our brains are still wired to the negative. So they're still, it's still easier to be stressed and anxious if we're not staying on top of it, because we can quite easily get hijacked, and our brains don't know the difference between a tiger attacking us and a stressful situation. So everything shuts down and gets us ready to fight, flight, freeze. And that doesn't serve us. That doesn't serve us when we're trying to heal. That doesn't serve us when we're trying to be, productive and creative and build our businesses. So we really need to consider both those parts, the energetic realm and the fact that we are human and we have a brain, okay? And this has like really been emphasized for me with these things over the last few weeks. And the boundaries are so important because I even see this as a boundary. It was like I had this virus in my body, and I could see that it was trying to take over. It was trying to take over my thoughts. It was trying to make me feel depressed, and I was seeing it. But for me, a non-negotiable and a boundary was keeping up my morning routine. So, still meditating, because then I could, within that meditation, I could then clear that energy daily of what was coming up for me. And I was able to keep up my happiness habits, my gratitude habits, and everything that I know works for me. So that was a boundary in itself. was keeping up those habits and saying, do you know what? No, like, I'm not going to let this like take me away from that routine, which I know is a big part of my life. And I know really helps me to be my absolute best version of me. So ultimately, I can be that best version of me for my clients, to help my clients, so they can be the best versions of themselves. So, you know, we can even have boundaries around this. And then obviously me being told to F off yesterday was a great example in boundaries test for me. Going, do you know what? I don't know what's going on here, but I have zero tolerance, okay? And this is, I've actually lost a few people out of my life last year, where I've developed this zero tolerance. So I have zero tolerance for abuse and disrespect. I have zero tolerance for being genuinely, as it seems they weren't joking, genuinely being told to F off. I had a situation last year with a friend where I'd said to her, could you contact me on WhatsApp now going forwards, because I'm doing something slightly different. And she had a really strong reaction to my decisions that I'd made about how she was contacting me and what my boundaries were. So I've had to now move away from her. So I've lost people through having boundaries as well. And I think that, that is sometimes part of the process, unfortunately, because it's about that deep self inner love. Because if we really want to make a huge difference in the world, we need to be in that place where our energy is in absolute alignment. And so we need to have those boundaries with ourselves, with others, and it comes from that place of self-love. So courage, some of you might know that courage comes from cœur, which is heart in French. So courage actually does mean heart-centered. It is about being heart-centered, okay? It comes from that place of like really deep self-love. So I hope that all makes sense. Let me know if you have any questions at all. Being told to F off can be a beautiful gift. Being unwell can be a beautiful gift, and being able to tune in with it energetically. And I would love for you to join me on the Energy Alignment Retreat, which is on the 19th of February. I will pop the link in comments. I'm really feeling like I've up-leveled, and these up levels have given me this new insight. So we're going to be going like even deeper into energy alignment and self-care on the 19th of February. And the reason I created these retreats, so I created the Shine retreats in 2020, and the reason why I create these retreats is because I strongly believe that there is a very different way that we can do self-care, run our businesses, especially when we're highly sensitive, we're empathic, or we're introverted. There is a kinder, more gentler way to do this for ourselves. And this is why I wanted to create retreats, because I wanted to bring people together in a safe space where we can clear energy together, we can align energy, and we can really focus on self-care. So this is going to be a really actionable retreat as well, where we're going to set a plan. We're going to set a plan for using positive psychology and using self-care techniques for the rest of 2020 as well. So this is the reason for the retreat. It's on the 19th of February, and I would love to see some of you there. Spots are limited, and early bird price is available until the 12th of Feb. So any questions, let me know. Keep up your boundaries, keep up your self-love, and I'm sending you all lots of love, and I will speak to you all soon. Bye.